Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at the second novel published in the Gord the Rogue series, the third in my reading order, which is Gord the Rogue, Artifact of Evil. This is the last of the Gord books published by TSR by Gary Gygax. Gary Gygax would then part ways with TSR after this is published in 1986 and open up his own company, and I've talked about that a little bit in the other reviews, and I'll talk about it more when I have the other those books to take a look at. So in this one, Artifact of Evil, we get a real good look at the areas west of the city of Greyhawk. In the previous book, we went east. In this one, we go pretty far west. Not quite as far as we go in Sea of Death, and I'll get to that when I do that book. But we do get a nice look at some of the western portions of Greyhawk and Ulick, Furiandi, those places up into the Vesby Forest. So a very good book. We're going to take a look at it today on page 121. All right, Artifact of Evil. This is a fun book. I am one of the people that likes Gygax's writing style, so you're going to have to forgive me for that. I don't pick on it the way a lot of other folks do. I enjoyed it. I found this book in particular to be very enjoyable. We meet a lot of known characters in this book. We meet Melf, yes, the famous Acid Arrow, his thief companion Biff. Chert is in this as well. And of course it features Gord, and we meet a few other lesser notables in the world of Greyhawk. This book takes place shortly after the events of Knight Errant, in my opinion, which is why I read this book third. There's a nice picture of Gord. And this book starts out, fine map of Greyhawk again. This book starts out with a castle siege in the down in the by the Drakengard Mountains in the Pomarch, or southern portion, just off of Ulick. And the first 2 or 3 chapters actually deal with a castle siege in D&D. We get to see a lot of magic. We see elementals summoned up. We see trolls, all kinds of stuff. It's very exciting opening to the book, and I thought that was a great job on Gygax's part. Oh, sorry, I didn't say it. There are going to be spoilers. I've already told you how the book begins. If you don't want to find out how it ends, tune out now. So you have been warned. So we just go through the book. The first 2 or 3 chapters deal with the castle assault. And the rest of the book pretty much deals with the outcome of the castle assault. There's an evil artifact that's come to light in the Flanus, and various powerful evil forces are vying for it. Some good are interested in obtaining it, and neutrality wants to keep it neutral. It's an evil artifact. It is an artifact of evil. But we find out that it's only one of 3. We'll get into that in the later books. That's not dealt with a ton here. We find out that the item, the lesser artifact that was retrieved at the end of Saga of Old City, was in fact an artifact that would lead to where this more powerful artifact was hidden. So the opening portion where they're attacking the castle is kind of a bid for the forces of good to get their hands on it. They also want to stop the castle. I'm not going to go into a ton of minutia on it, but that is the MacGuffin for the entire book, is Gord and his friends are trying to secure the artifact. What's really sweet is we see Gord with his friend Gellor through the early part of the book, and Curly Greenleaf is in here as well. They are chasing after where the artifact might be. They meet up with other a powerful wizard named Oscar and a cavalier named Deirdre, and they are going on a quest to try to find this artifact from an ancient Sul city that's hidden somewhere in the Sus Forest. It's pretty cool. We hadn't seen a bunch about the Sus Forest. There's a lot in here. These books, all the Gord the Rogue books, in my opinion, are very good travelogues for the world of Greyhawk. If you have some questions about what this is, what that is, why it's where it is, these books have good answers for it. I've read a couple of commentaries on this book that it feels more like a gaming adventure. It kind of does. Gygax was first and foremost a game master or a game writer. He wasn't necessarily a novelist. That being said, that's fine by me. I enjoy this book a lot. This might well be my favorite. I believe that's Ayuz on his Bone Throne. This might be my favorite of the Gord series. It's between this and Sea of Death. I enjoy both of those books. We also meet in this Igwilv. Ayuz is a main villain in this. His mother Igwilv is involved. Zugdmoy, his mistress, the demon goddess of fungi, is in this. Grazd is in this. And Eclavdra of the Drow is in this. Also, Opmi, who is the notorious dwarf servant of evil that pops up first in the Against the Giant modules. He's in here as well. He's a main antagonist in this one and in Sea of Death. So just for those names I've dropped, this book is worth reading. You get some real nice characterizations of them. You get a good look at Greyhawk's, Ayuz's Boneheart, which is his hierarchy of lieutenants, if you will. We meet Tensor in here. We go to his castle in the Near Div. We get up into through Furiandi and then go up into the Vesvi Forest. All kinds of adventures happen, but this is mostly a party adventure book. There's very little about Gord's solo. The interesting revelation for Gord in this one is he has a ring that he has gotten and kind of lost in Moonset Comes Black Cat, a short story. He has the ring again, and he finds out that he can turn into a panther using this ring, among other powers that it gives him, including the ability to see in the dark and things like that. He's becoming more and more cat-like throughout this book. It's just a really good read. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of growth of Gord as a character. A lot of people say that the characters in these novels are just kind of cookie cutter, and I don't agree with that. I think there was some nice character development throughout the course of these books. I like Gord. I like Chert, Curly, and Gelor. Those are our four main guys that we deal with, and I like them all. So as the group is going through the Vesvi, they're chasing the evil band that has the artifact in their hands. They're heading north toward Ayuz. The band, our little intrepid adventurers, are chasing behind them. Gord uses his Panther ability to infiltrate the camp at one point, but has to flee because they have a way to stop him. And then we get to, there's Gord in the bad guy camp. It's a lot of fun. There's good subterfuge in here. The bad guys aren't stupid. The bad guys actually play a pretty good game. They are worthy opponents for our intrepid heroes. And after all is said and done, I'm going to, ready again, here's a spoiler. If we're ready, the heroes don't get the artifact at the end of this one. The bad guys do. Ayuz, in fact, gets it. That could spell doom for the Flanus, so you'll have to stay for the next one and see what happens. The book, after the quest is not successful, the book goes into the party's return through the Vesvi, and one of my favorite sequences, they meet a demon boar. This is a demon that, for whatever reason, is wandering around the Vesvi in a boar's shape. The party ends up fighting the boar. The boar does some... the party by this time is really just Chert and Gord and a couple of young boys that they get attached to. That get attached to the party earlier in the novel. Chert and Gord are fighting this thing, this demon boar, and it's winning. And Gord, finally in desperation, is changing to a panther. He's doing all kinds of stuff to try to save the party. Ultimately, Gord gets killed. Yes, Gord dies at the end of this book. And we find out one of the powers of his ring is he has 9 lives. He wakes up in the halls of the Cat Lord. So Gord is dead at the end of this book, but he still has 8 more lives courtesy of his ring. He's able to recover in the halls of the Cat Lord and make it back to Orth in time for Sea of Death. So it's pretty standard Greyhawk fare. If that's what you love, which yes, you're going to find yourself doing what I did in this. You're going to be adapting a lot of stuff out of this book. I took a bunch of places of grayness. We even get a nice look at Selene, the Elven Kingdom, in this book. I took a lot of stuff from this book and wrapped it into my campaign. I still use elements from it, and my players have fought a demon boar a couple of times. So I recommend it highly. I really enjoy it. I enjoyed all of the Gord the Rogue series. I honestly wish there had been more, and I also wish that it hadn't happened, that the novels were published right at the time that Gygax and TSR split. I would have liked to have seen what would have happened had Gary Gygax stayed with TSR and finished the series. But that's all I've got today about Artifact of Evil. The next one up is Sea of Death. And as I said, this one and Sea of Death kind of switch places for my favorite as I read through these. But this one is a great party book, companion book, kind of like Fellowship of the Rings. If you like the party, or Fellowship of the Ring, my apologies. If you like the party adventure, then this is the closest that the Gord series gets to that. So that's all I've got to say today on page 121. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.